7:47 now. With all the economic uncertainty, it is no surprise recent reports show consumer confidence slipping a bit, but retail sales actually went up last month. Here to make sense of all of this wild stuff, Chase Wilsey, Vice President of Wilsey Asset Management. Hi, Chase.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, so the last couple of days I look and the markets open up, and yesterday it was up 500-600. Today it was up 1,000. 3 days ago, down 2,000. Explain what is currently happening. It seems like every day, whatever the news cycle says, it affects the markets directly in a great way.
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember that the stock market is obviously trying to look forward. And when there's uncertainty, that's what creates all of this volatility. So people are trying to trade and get ahead of the curve. And I mean, personally, that's why I'm a long-term investor, is because I don't really care about this day-to-day movement. And I mean, I'm in this industry. I read everything. I'm going to say I have a good understanding of what's going on. I will tell you, I have no idea what is going to happen tomorrow. And if you think you do, that is a big mistake in my mind. And long term, most likely, you will be wrong.
We've talked so much about the volatility of the market, but just how emotional it really is, because you see the president say one thing about the Fed chair, and it tanks. And then and he said, oh, I'm going to get rid of him. And then yesterday he says, I'm not going to get rid of him. And it goes up. How are investors dealing with just the emotional whiplash, if you will, of one day it's one thing, the next is another thing, and then they're reacting to it?
Yeah, and I think that's again the big discrepancy you have to look at. The people that are moving this market right now, they're traders, and they're trying to determine what's going to happen. And I mean, frankly, I don't know what Donald Trump's going to do today. I don't know what he's going to do tomorrow. And to try and guess his actions, I think, is a big mistake. And that's what people are doing. From an investment perspective, you take that long-term point of view. I mean, his actions on the day-to-day shouldn't necessarily really matter when you look at buying good, sound investments. And that is, again, I think where people are making huge mistakes right now. I got to go to cash, I got to get out.
Right.
You're going to cost yourself immensely in the long term.
I mean, well said, but people are still doing that. Let's talk a little more about this consumer confidence, because sales went up last month. Did that surprise you, given the uncertainty?
You know, I'm not going to say it surprised me. What I think is really interesting is I'm going to look at the Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Survey. I think it's funny. I'm going to say it's funny because you go back to 1952, we had the second lowest reading. I mean, think about all of that history.
Wow.
The second lowest reading. It's just crazy to see that. And I looked at the sentiment survey in a little bit more detail. I mean, they say at least 600 households. To me, that's a really small sample size when you're looking at 130 million people, 130 million households, I should say. So, I mean, to look at that type of data, I don't want to say I throw it out, but I definitely look at it with a grain of salt. And especially people right now that don't like President Trump, don't like the Republican Party, let's say, I think they're saying they hate where things are at, so they're very negative. But I mean, you talk about sports right now. You go to a Padres game, it's packed. You go to the restaurants, it's packed. I mean, you look at the retail sales report, what we were talking about, retail sales were up about 4.6% in the month of March. There was some pull forward, no doubt about that. People were trying to get ahead of tariffs. I mean, motor vehicles and parts, that was up 8.8%. That's not normal. People were like, I'm worried about the tariffs, so I'm going to buy. But restaurants and bars, that was up 4.8%. You can't get ahead of it.
That's such a good point. It's such a good point. Just recently, I'm calling hotels in downtown almost sold out. Restaurants, hard to get reservations at nice restaurants that are expensive. So it's kind of strange to kind of make sense of the whole thing. I want to get back to Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. Despite all the social media posts that we have to follow, do you think that the vote of, I don't even know if you call it a vote of confidence from the president, but basically him saying that he's not going to fire him, is that going to help restore a little bit of confidence and stability, or is it just, that's just today?
You know, I'm going to say I hope so. I hope it does restore that sense of confidence. I think Fed Chair Powell, I mean, maybe he hasn't been quick enough to lower rates. I mean, everybody wants lower rates because it should help boost the economy. But the thing is that Fed independence is so important because that is what keeps inflation in check long term. I'm hoping that what the likely outcome is Fed Chair Powell, I don't think is going to see past May 2026 when his term ends. But I hope that we're done hearing about this and that is it, because I think that will restore more confidence in the markets.
Well, at last check, the Dow was up over 1,000 points.
So mainly because of that.
Mainly because of that. We have a few hours left in the day. Chase Wilsey, we thank you again. Appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll be right back.